Hello and welcome to Editing with My Wife, now on a mission. I'm here with Cheesy Loops. Cheesy Loops, tell us what this podcast's about.
This podcast is about how we explore moving in a world with just magic.
Just magic.
No tech.
So cool. Okay, this is the chapter, like the middle of it. I'm just sitting in the middle of it. We should probably be in the recap where we have to kind of recap what happened last week because we forgot. And I'll technically... It was that bonus episode. So...
Last week?
Mm-hmm.
Last week?
Yesterday. Okay. What are we talking about?
So, in chapter 2...
What was Nathaniel doing?
Nathaniel's super sad. Yeah, sure, Nathaniel's super sad. Sure, we can take it that. I think... Nathaniel sees something he never wished to see. Would be saying it better. Experience something he never expected. I mean, there's so many other better ways to say that. The boy is having fun. Draelynn helps the boy, and Tresska has a plan.
Applin.
Applin?
Applin, like the Pokemon.
Like
spelled wrong.
When...
But this is chapter 3. Not 34. Not yet. Or they are in. No, we are in. So we get a glimpse of what Draelynn's world was look like in the other world, and this one we get a kind of a glimpse of what's going on in this one. So moving on to chapter 3.
Woo! All right.
I hope there was no spoilage. No one was reading ahead. Oh, you just sat there and gibbered on. But my plan is to cleverly put a loading bar on these first 2 episodes, and it says loading content chapter 1 or 2 and then the title, and then it's a loading bar until I end it, and it ends when we start reading the story, so people can just skip right to the story if they want.
I see it's cute. Mm-hmm. I have not seen this yet.
No. Okay, but this is the boys chapter, and so you get to read it.
Yay!
And you'll read the next one too, and then we'll go back to me.
Yeah.
Where Nathaniel does something dope.
Chapter 3, the world they're in. Up in the tree is not where the boy chose to be. He was hugging his auntie right after she pulled him up there. Are they taking care of you? She asked him. His gestures and excitations gave her a lot of relief. The leather chest plate aided the feeling. Remember that Nathaniel will bring you to your father. I love you and won't be able to talk to you for a little while. I need to go help your new friends. She was cut off by Draelynn below, shouting, "Boy, this is no game."
Boy, this is no game.
Remember, your auntie loves you. Stay safe with them. Take this. It will hide you from Sloane. She held out a small bead of light. Keep it hidden away by swallowing it. The boy popped the light into his mouth. It disappeared down his throat.
Quit your hiding, boy. Come out with you.
Draelynn shouted as the earth shook around them, making the tree wobble a little. The boy's eyes grew big as he saw the ring grow around him from his perfect vantage point. He is your best friend, she said, looking at the boy in his eyes. Stay close to him, and he will keep you safe. I love you. Her tear-filled eyes disappeared. In front of him was Draelynn. Rose up from...
As Draelynn rose up.
Oh, okay, hold on, sorry. In front of him, as Draelynn rose up from below, he felt safe. His gratitude on his face.
That doesn't really make sense with the as. I'm just going to... Go ahead.
I'll just put a comma there. How did you get up there? Draelynn asked. The boy's hands moved into an unfamiliar word. Let's go see the other two. Maybe they can help me understand. He used the last of the stone blood in his system to get them there quickly using the stone. He landed the stone near the tower. They got off and went into the glowing black portal that was the entrance to Draelynn's home. After being distracted for but a moment, the boy found himself unreasonably high in a tree. I do not believe he did it himself. He looked down. Boy, tell them what you told me. The boy repeated the hand gesture.
Sorry.
Nathaniel was sitting in the chair across from Tresska. They looked at the boy.
Who was frantically
trying to explain with his hands. They had picked up a little like names and certain words like foods and animals. The boy's mind began to think. He pointed at Nathaniel and the sign for his name, and then the same for Tresska. Did you meet someone you knew? Tresska was getting it. He nodded, making the same sign he had been. They understood, but the boy wasn't done. His hands told him his name, then a new one. The next was a hand signal that meant the same when he pointed between Nathaniel and Tresska. Your aunt? Tresska sounded surprised. Sloane's sister, Nathan clarified. Does she love you? Draelynn asked, looking into his eyes. His hands had a deja vu. He made the hand signal for same, pointed to Tresska again. He had them laughing.
Does that make sense? She asks what? Does she love you?
Draelynn asked if...
Draelynn asked, does she love you? And what did he do? He did the same thing he did a second ago, because it's the same situation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I just want to make sure that was clear.
It's just the wording is funky here. That's all. That's all I was tripling on. Okay. She surely does. We must trust her then. What was she doing? Tresska asked. The boy made the sign for hide, then another one they thought meant Sloane, but actually Dad. She's helping you hide from Sloane? The boy nodded. Scroll.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. Seems like she was trying to help. Nathaniel stood up. Tresska and I have come up with a plan. While you were out hunting, we went and got the slip ring. Nathaniel winked at the boy. They walked out the portal, then to a different place with a hallucinatory arrow pointing towards Thram's tower. The boy watched Draelynn and Tresska thwip away. Nathaniel picked the boy up and put him on his shoulders, then thwip, they were inside Thram's tower. There were no walls or doors inside the oversized stones. The floor, flat and smooth, held a giant ring of metal with rounded spikes on the outside. A series of deep, complex, interconnecting runes adorned the inside, and a small, ornate, metallic rowboat sat in the center.
Go ahead.
Tresska sat in the back of the rowboat. Draelynn sat opposite. After putting the boy in the center, he sat next to him, holding on tight. What?
The Nathaniel sat opposite, not Draelynn. Sorry, Draelynn. It's Tresska in the front, Nathaniel in the back, and the two in the middle. And so, after putting the boy down, Draelynn needs to sit, and Nathaniel needs to sit opposite. I messed up. That's just a logistics problem. Because it wouldn't make any sense. There's no Nathaniel anymore.
Okay, so hold on. Before you keep going, Nathaniel sat opposite after putting the boy...
in
the center.
Oh, in the center, Draelynn.
And then Draelynn sat next to him.
Instead of he. I'm sorry.
There you go.
All right.
This is the culmination of my late husband's work, Tresska said, proudly stamping her foot on the base of the boat. A loud thud sounded as the boat lifted off the ground. A massive ring moved beneath, and above them as the seat rose. A boat for land and water. She stood and touched the runes inside the rings. A blue glow shined out as she touched them. She put a small piece of what looked like shattered glass on her tongue and closed her mouth.
You missed the word "looked." You went very quickly by it, just so if you didn't know.
She put a piece of what looked like shattered glass on her tongue and closed her mouth. You have of her tongue.
Oh.
And eyes. Tresska took a deep breath and swiped left across the runes. The boat and wind shifted to the left, responding to her movement.
Sorry.
That's okay. And wind shifted to the left, responding to her movement. And then?
Yeah. Sorry.
And then she swiped forward along the rune, and the ring began to move forward, toward the wall. The boys braced for impact, but the slipped through the stones like they weren't there. The slip ring?
Well, just ring because you don't know the name yet.
The
ring.
ring.
Do you?
Yeah, he said the slip ring. They've been talking about the slip ring. But the slip ring slipped through the stones like they weren't there. The icy air didn't blow on them as they traveled the snowy hills, an invisible bubble protecting them. The atmosphere in the bubble just sounded a little muffled, to a much lesser degree than the wind outside. A gift, Draelynn said, handing Nathaniel an oversized flask with his name engraved into it. It is from Thram. It is filled with the most precious arcane... Ooh...
We changed it, and I
Yeah.
forgot to change it here.
That's okay. It is from Thran. It is filled with that most precious arcane liqueur. He told me that with it you might be able to crack the world like an egg. Be careful with it. He let out a burst of laughter. Where are we headed anyway? We are heading to Detta by way of Palmore, Nathaniel explained simply while inspecting the flask. You say that like I know these names. What are these places like? What kind of people reside there? The boy and I need details, Draelynn complained. Detta is a large market city. People who travel there only travel to sell, where the locals put up their large outdoor structures. The locals are all about a good deal, and they love haggling, Nathaniel said, looking for more questions. Draelynn obliged. It is my understanding that children are a rarity on the world. How do we hide the boy? He smiled down at the boy, and effusive happiness bubbled out. Sight is but a trick of the light, is it not? Tresska butted in, staring at the boy. We cannot give him anything, for we cannot tell that his voice has dropped. However, shapeweed is a specialty of mine. I will need your help, Draelynn. We need to make him taller. Tresska slowed the ring down. There was a couple on the side of the road, a man laying down, and a woman was holding him, her face buried in his chest, shaking. Are we sure this is not a trick? Draelynn asked, prudently. Someone is hurling, Draelynn. We must stop and help. Tresska said, bringing the slip ring to a stop. Pain is inevitable, Draelynn muttered under his breath. Nathaniel got out and went and helped the people. The boy sat as he saw Nathaniel's back straighten. His hand shot up. I hate it when I'm right. It appears the man has been playing dead, Tresska noted, the pair walking to Nathaniel. You just have to...
Who said that?
Draelynn did.
Yeah, but...
Yeah, so no
so
space.
I just need to delete the space.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I just need to make sure of that.
Yeah. The guy was faking it. He said he wants our fancy boat, Nathaniel explained, walking over. They have a lot of empty fire blood bottles
that
and
needs to be liquor
fire liquor bottles laying around. Act like you're getting out. This would help, Draelynn handed him his new flask. Nathaniel rejected it. No, I don't want to hurt them. I do. They're slowing us down. I wish to return to my family, not help those who cannot... I wish to return to my family, not help those who cannot help themselves. Nathaniel reached into his bag, pulling out a small pouch containing a small brown leaf. He chewed it and swallowed it. This can help. He turned around and went back to the brigands. After a few moments of Nathaniel's talking, he reached out, put his hands on their shoulders. Glowing light happened, and the pair dipped low, bowing gratefully. Nathaniel watched as the pair walked away from him, looking almost giddy. Nathaniel came back and sat in his seat. Here, on my world, we have many ways out of a situation.
Draelynn. We don't know who's saying that here.
Oh.
You can assume, but...
Yeah. In my world, you help, you die. Draelynn thought about it shortly. No, it's worse. You help someone, you are used to give another race power beyond what they need in order to hunt more of your kind. That sounds awful, Tresska said sympathetically. The boy looked at Draelynn's grizzled visage. A spark of curiosity popped into his face. He made the gestures that he knew Draelynn understood. You like and hunt. The boy smiled, knowing how effectively he communicated to those he had a million words for. I do love hunting, but only when it is an animal. To hunt a thinking thing seems needlessly cruel, Draelynn concluded. Prudent thinking, too bad no one can hear it, Nathaniel muttered. Tresska looked down at him and bumped him on the back of the head. We hear it, Draelynn, and we are going to do something about it, Tresska finished. The boy got Nathaniel's attention, asking how with his hands. How what? He said, looking to the others for help. The boy pointed behind himself. Oh, that! You see, they wanted to hurt us. Then we had a talk, and I offered them a gift instead. They chose to go about their day. Nathaniel bent down and grabbed his bag and handed it to Draelynn. We have our supplies here. Draelynn opened the bag. The boy saw it was full of colorful liquids and vials and various other containers containing glass, flowers, leaves, and white powders. All of those have power. We need to keep it safe, Tresska said. Hydration.
Drinking. All right.
Ooh. Draelynn reached into the bag and pulled out a vial containing a single piece of a yellow substance. You have the sliver of the divine? He quickly put it back in the bag, closing it and giving it back to Nathaniel, who stowed it in a hidden compartment. They wanted it all, but I had something they needed more. Some of the easiest stuff to find, and the people are farming it these days to help the healing community. But I have a unique power when I use it. I can heal the damage caused by overuse of this substance that gives us power. If you are not careful with how much you do, the arcane beasts will come and take you. You say that like it happens every day, Tresska thought out loud. It was days from happening to those people. If they hadn't met me, they would have been taken for sure, Nathaniel explained. The boy had so many questions like, what was the leaf called? Or when do I get the chance to try all these fantastical concoctions? But he instead just sat and listened as they continued. Draelynn wondered aloud. Do you know what these creatures look like? Draelynn had better questions, the boy thought. Like light reflecting off of light, reflected off of light? Somehow trapped by an invisible force? Tresska said. I've only seen them twice myself. Once while working with the resistance, a soldier took a large sliver of the divine. It took him then and there. Like a storm of small spiders, light flickered into the room. It began covering him. Then they just formed the horrific visage of... Oh my goodness, sorry.
It's a big sentence.
It is a big sentence.
We're almost done now.
It began covering him. Then they just formed the horrific visage full of teeth and aggression. Then he was gone. No one knows what happens when they take you. Beings of light. Sounds like we might be seeing them sooner than you think, Draelynn suggested. What makes you think that? Nathaniel asked. The divine arcane. He or they?
It's Draelynn, and she's just going to say he, I think.
Okay. He told me these creatures would help me, Draelynn explained.
I think Nathaniel would be a little more careful. Even maybe Tresska, but Draelynn doesn't care.
They finally arrived at their destination. An open air market was the first thing to see. The boy's heart skipped a beat at how many people that were gathered outside the village. It almost stopped when the slip ring hit the ground with a thud.
His heart almost stopped. I guess I should repeat that.
Yeah.
I did the same thing when I was reading it, and I think you did it too.
I did. As the group stepped out, Draelynn asked, Aren't you afraid someone could take it? No one could go near it unless I want them to. Unless I'm dead, then it transfers to Nathaniel here. Not even objects. As if to prove the point, she tossed a rock that bounced off an invisible barrier. The boy reasoned that must have been why he couldn't feel the wind as they traveled, which is very exciting. Tresska! I never thought I'd see you again! The voice came from a passing woman. She stopped and began talking to Tresska.
That's one problem. My one big problem. They don't change the boy. They talk about it, but don't do it.
Yeah, they don't. After this. Down, down, down.
It's This is them in the thing.
Oh. I just saw
that.
It's right there. Sight is but a trick of the light, is it not? Tresska butted in, staring at the boy. So this is where they're talking about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's got to happen like down here.
Go up.
Like when they stop.
Go up a little bit more. Go up a little bit more.
Like before they get onto the boat?
No, keep going up a little bit more. Okay. So Tresska slowed the ring down. And that's where they were going to do it. So while Nathaniel's off doing his thing, talking to them, they can be doing it right there, couldn't they?
It's like the whole situation that's happening. I don't think they would have the presence of mind to do it. They're kind of waiting for the tension to release first.
No, they slowed it down and then they saw the couple. She slowed the ring down and then they saw the couple.
That's because she slowed the ring down because she saw the couple. Not and then. Well, yeah, and then, but because she saw it. She saw a couple in distress and wanted to help.
Okay.
I think it's...
So then, hold on.
Right.
Up a bit. Up a bit. Up a bit.
No, hold on. Let me tell you my idea real quick.
Okay. You need to stop.
Right here. Right here is where I'd put it.
That's where you would put it. Okay, so scroll back up just a titch. So they're looking already in the bag with all the substances, with all the magic stuffs.
In the boat. They need to stretch him.
Yeah, but isn't the thing stopped? They're still talking about the thing that's happening.
They talk about it while they're moving. Like once the situation is over, they just keep moving. I didn't say that, and they didn't go to your head.
Okay. Well, then put it where you had it. Right before they walk into town. Hopefully no one sees them doing it.
No,
The clacks are back.
There. That way they're going again. And here when they stop, they show the invisible barrier.
Oh, how I love those clacks. Why are you panting so much?
Oh, man.
It's a growly puppy. Don't get all grumpy pumpy at me. You little grumpy pump. Yo, grumpy pump. Alright, let's see what you typed. Tresska reached in her pocket, retrieving some shapeweed, handing some to Draelynn as well.
Handing some to Draelynn as well. Yeah.
After only 5 minutes, the boy looked like a whole 10 years older. Okay. But you have this problem where the boy reasoned it must have been why he couldn't feel the wind.
You're right. That line needs to be moved up, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So this could probably just go like this, too.
And then the whole Tresska, I never thought I'd see you again, needs to be said after they've walked into town. I got my own squeaker, but it doesn't squeak. Oh. Okay. You're a good puppy. I love my puppy.
I'm wondering if the boy comes. That's the problem. Alright, so I made a little mistake. That happens in the next chapter already, so we don't need that.
Yes.
So, if we're moving on, is there anything else that caught your eye?
You met someone you knew. Ooh.
Like, he's pointing at Aunt, so maybe it's like something in the family.
Well, no, they don't discern who it is.
Right here. It's the next thing. She figures it out.
Okay,
She's like, oh, it's in your family? Oh, it's your aunt, just like me and Nathaniel. Okay.
Yeah, so they just keep narrowing it. When he repeats himself, they keep narrowing down further.
I use a word. I wonder if you know what it means. Effusive.
Effusive.
I feel like we should Google that.
Is it like diffusive? Not over there. Darn Google. Effusive.
Expressing feelings of gratitude, pleasure, or approval in an unrestrained or heartfelt manner.
Interesting.
Unless it's igneous rock. Why would you say something about igneous rock? Oh, apparently it's effusive. I don't know.
How do we have a word for emotion and a word for rocks? It's the same word.
Of igneous rock, poured out when molten and later solidified. Poured out when molten and later solidified. Apparently that's another word where effusive lands. Weird. Oh, relating to the eruption of large volumes of molten rock.
Oh.
Interesting.
So, lava.
Okay, yeah. It's excitedly generous with its lava, I guess.
Interesting.
That's the remnants of that excited lava. Okay, so let's talk about Nathaniel. What does he sound like in this book, in this chapter?
So with Nathaniel, and especially with the couple that pops up, I feel like he's giving out this help people vibe that drives Draelynn cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, let me tell you. That he doesn't want anybody to be hurt. He wants to help. And there's always got to be a better solution than just damaging or violent or protect. I mean, and
it's interesting.
With Draelynn, it's a protect yourself mode. You have to protect yourself first,
which is his whole life.
But with Nathaniel, it's how do I go about doing something without hurting anybody, and whether it be myself or them. You know, he doesn't want either side.
That's very conscientious, isn't it?
Yes.
Good. I like to hear that.
Yes, very much
so. let's move to Tresska. What's Tresska like? What do you get from Tresska in this chapter?
Tresska, what I get from her is just a lot of... She seems like a lot of fun. She's playing with this slip and ring.
Very agreeable.
Very agreeable. Good. She's playing with the slip and ring. She's like... How do we hide this kid? And she's like, it's just a trick of light. Watch. Kind of thing. She's
been around long enough to have seen this kind of stuff happen anyway.
Right.
I mean, she's probably had to hide children this way before, even.
And I think it's funny also is like Nathaniel is making a quip at Draelynn and she
bumps him on the back of the head. They're family, right?
Bats him across the back of the head.
Because she totally ignored Draelynn's feeling. He totally ignored Draelynn's feeling.
Yes.
And she wanted to recognize that he does normally look at people's feelings. He's just a little hurt right now, and it's totally understandable. So the boy here is his chapter. It's not very him.
You get to hear some of his thoughts and what he's thinking, and especially when he's like, he has so many questions and he doesn't have the words to ask them.
He like wants to communicate so desperately.
And then
Which you have to do if you're a mute person who's an extrovert.
He loves Draelynn's questions,
He's
too.
Like, focused on other people like that.
Ooh, Draelynn has better questions.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah. Speaking of Draelynn...
Draelynn.
What does he show you in this?
He definitely shows you the side of himself he had to learn from his world. Where it's... always assume the worst and protect yourself over others.
And I think he made it very clear in that line where he talked about his world there for a brief second, when he said it's kill or be killed. If you help them, you die.
Yeah, if you help someone else, you're really helping.
He realized in the moment it's different than that. It's even worse than that.
Yes, can we go back to that line? Actually, I want to reread it.
I thought that was pretty clever on my part, because it really shows that other
Keep
world
going.
Horror. If you think there's horror here, I mean, that other world, his life is filled with it, and he has children.
Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, the boy asking how. So we probably passed it.
Yes, we did. In
That
my
sounds
world,
awful,
you
that
help,
is.
you die. Draelynn thought about it shortly. No, it's worse. You help someone, you are used to give another race power beyond what they need in order to hunt more of your kind. So it's a little curiosity here. You help someone, you're used to give another race power beyond what they need in order to hunt.
They kill you. They kill you, take your power from you, and put it into something else, and then use that to capture more of your people.
Okay, yeah.
It's a pretty horrible way to live, but being a shapeshifter, they sometimes catch animals and not realizing they're not shapeshifters. However, the animals do also give power, just not as strong as a shapeshifter.
Which is how, I mean, in that other world you have it, is that they were catching animals and they caught a shapeshifter by accident and then started realizing, right? Is that basically what it is?
And the boy realizes that, well, if you were hunted, why do you like hunting, right? That's what you were getting out of him repeating or saying this.
Yeah.
The problem is that he smiles knowing how effectively he communicated, does not actually ask a question.
Yes.
But he answers it anyway.
Well, it's like you like hunt. So after understanding that in order to hunt more of your kind. Mm-hmm. So there's that. That's the last sentence Draelynn says. And then the boy looks at Draelynn and says, you like to hunt.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good.
And
it does sound awful. I mean, not awful, but awkward.
It does.
Why would you like hunting if you were hunted so much? Yeah.
This directly opposes what I feel like you like. And hunting animals is one thing.
Hunting a human or a being of some kind seems...
To hut, by the way.
No.
To hut a thinking being.
It seems needlessly cruel. I don't think it's needlessly cruel to hunt animals.
I mean, if you're feeding and you're honing your skills to future feed your family,
a lovely shade of red.
I think it's not needlessly cruel. Especially when, I mean, he's teaching the boy how to hunt and fend for himself a little bit. The boy. I like how Draelynn just drops the part of it.
I do too, because that means I don't have to type it.
Uh-huh.
Just going to take a quick sec.
But, I do love hunting, but only when it is an animal. And it's not like they do it all the time. And most of the time, when you're hunting, you're out there for the practice of being silent, not just killing.
Uh-huh.
So part of your hunt is how close can you get up to something. You don't always have to kill.
It's a contest of wills.
Yeah.
It seems okay to impose your will on animals, but not on humans.
But it also provides food, so you can take it back. You can take it back to Thram, and why can I only remember Thram?
Although, in this world, you don't need to provide food.
No, you don't.
It's just
made.
In fact, it was weird that Tresska was making loaves of bread, but it was Synth's thing, not hers. She was just helping and spending time with someone she needed. She needed it bad.
Well, cooking can be cathartic,
and quite soothing and
I mean,
tasty.
you have to assume that these people... Ooh, filling up my drink. You have to assume if Synth liked cooking bread, maybe she likes cooking other things.
Yeah. And she can just summon the ingredients for it and do the practice of the thing.
But if you have someone out there practicing their hunting skills and they're bringing back food, might as well base that as off your theme and use it anyway.
Well, do you want to do a recap? Or first we should see if there's a question. Do you have a question you think would go great here? You need to think about these beforehand.
I have a question.
For the audience.
For anybody who's out there drawing, take the slip and ring and I want to see what they see in it. Because the way you wrote it is completely different than what I was seeing. That's
good. I want everyone to see different things, quite honestly. If you have any artistic talent, draw anything. I'm curious. What do you guys see? Because I'm not trying to be specific. I'm trying to leave a lot of it open to interpretation.
So it'd be interesting. And I think we could drop my Discord in your... So that way people can show us.
That's true, yeah.
Because there's not many...
Cheesy Loops Discord.
Or if you make videos, you can drop links of your videos into the comments and we'll look at those images. That would be really cool.
But the question was, what do you think the slip and ring looks like? Should we read it again and then close out?
Yes, let's read it again.
That
and then do the...
Here, the culmination of my late husband's work. These 2 paragraphs would be great.
Okay. We went and got the slip and ring. Nathaniel winked at the boy. They walked out to the portal, then to a different... Okay, so the floor, flat and smooth, held a giant ring of metal with rounded spikes on the outside. A series of deeply complex interconnecting runes adorned the inside, and a small ornate metallic rowboat sat in the center. Tresska sat in the back of the rowboat. Nathaniel sat opposite after putting the boy in the center, and Draelynn sat next to him, holding on tight. "This is the culmination of my late husband's work," Tresska said, proudly stamping her foot on the base of the boat. A loud thud sounded as the boat lifted off the ground. A massive ring moved underneath, and above them...
No, move underneath, beneath and above. It's a ring, so it's on both top and bottom. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm missing things. The massive ring moved beneath and above them as the seat rose. A boat for land and water. She stood and touched the runes inside the rings. A blue glow shined out as she touched them. That's most of the description. I could keep going, but...
So what do you see? Tell me what you see. Just
what do I see?
Yeah.
Okay, so reading it again, I see almost what originally I was thinking of, but the rowboat is what in the middle is what's different, and I like it.
I needed something that multiple people could sit in, and I remember what we were first talking about was Millie Morrow 1 or 2 seats.
Yeah,
and I need 4. So I figured if I could get this thing on land, why not find a way to put it in the water too? And then I thought, why not use a boat? And I thought I'd heard of boats being called slips, but slips are the places where boats go. We learned. I don't care.
But no, but a slip ring sounds fine too, because it's a ring that slips across the land or slips across the water.
It shreds across the land. It's got knobs on the outside, right?
Yeah, so spikes on the outside.
How do you envision the spikes? Did they have points? Are they knobby?
I don't see them knobby.
Were they small, big? How many? Were they like covering the whole thing like a tire tread?
It feels like very Mad Maxian tire tread. Where it's just, there's a ton of, because it needs to get that grip a little bit.
Like to be Axel from
not quite Axel.
From, what is that, Black? No.
That's
the clown thing.
Yeah.
Twisted Metal.
Yeah.
In case anyone was wondering.
The wheel size that I'm seeing is about that big.
I mean, it's got to encompass a small boat, and it's got to be bigger than the small boat, because the small boat to me wasn't attached to the ring.
Yes,
it's like a whole magical system set up.
The boat rests in it when it's resting, but it floats in it.
This shows off the power of crafter's glass, but as you can see, it took the lifetime of a gentleman.
Yes,
at least 20 years probably to craft this and the rune work and all that. It's like a really intricate computer system.
Yes. And it seems to be that only Tresska has this kind of thing.
There are other big contraptions, but no one spent the time that way. They would rather spend it not traversing, but rather teleporting.
This world has this oddly mass production kind of feel.
That's that's what I was going for.
Everybody's thing is just a little different.
Like technological, but individual.
Yes.
Everyone has their own kind.
The slip and ring may have been around for a long time, and other people may have variations
or even
of it.
Seen it. Yeah.
But they've had to put the work into it. They've had to do all that.
And that took a long time. But they could do something our own way, too.
Yeah.
And the magic, there's so much variety. And rune work, I mean, you could make this rune out of wood and carve the runes there. You could make it out of gems.
Good night. Could you see a diamond slip ring?
It's a little big.
That's a little big.
But you could conjure the material.
Yeah.
So, it would take a lot of powder of creation, I'm sure. And maybe Draelynn could conjure that big of an object. You'd have to, like, put it together, I think. It's a pretty big object. But that is the chapter. So we're going to switch over to recap. A recap.
Can't find recap.
It's because it's not in the book. It's in the...
Oh, it's in that one, yeah.
Editing with my wife.
You're with...
My wife!
Oh, no. Nathaniel saves a few lives.
Oh, yeah, it's just say lives, not life.
Yeah. Casually saves a few lives.
That was my goal. Was he's going in this, he knows how to fix this. He can clearly see there's something wrong with them magically, and he can fix it. So either way, he helped. Even though they were being attacked, he helped.
Well, he gave them something
the noble action, I guess.
He gave them something they may not have ever gotten ever again. Yeah. That
they'd have to find another one of him.
Yes, and
get it from them, not free.
The slip and ring one, they probably couldn't work it. Mm-hmm. So they're gonna.
It's unlikely if they're both were fire liquor drinkers. They were both.
Had to look.
What alloy is that?
Runesmith.
That means on just ordinary metal, I think. Yes, the noble crafter is the noble one, and the glass crafter is the gems.
Yes.
So you can mark these same runes on anything, and it does similar things. But you got to know the runes. It comes back up, and it comes back up with Draelynn, the Pain Shaper.
They have to be able to have that specific substance to be able to move this thing. There's so much involved that it wasn't really worth it in the end. They were just hoping to get something out of it to maybe down the road get healed, and he just gave it to them.
He just said, let's I don't want to fight you guys. We don't need to fight here. And that's a noble thing.
Yes.
To go into a situation where you're held hostage and walk out of it alive and the other person's happy.
I think for point 2, I think it'd be funny to say the boy has so many questions he cannot ask. Tresska shows off a cool... Is Tresska... Oh, you have him switched on chapter 1.
No, it doesn't matter. As long as all 4 of them are there.
Draelynn reveals... I would say Draelynn reveals part of his personality through the traumas of his world. Something to that effect. That's a lot of words.
World.
And then Tresska shows off a really cool... I love the slip and ring. Tresska shows off her ride.
Alright, thanks everyone for listening.
Have a good day!
And remember, we're asking for pictures and stuff. Please feel free to just give it a go. It doesn't matter how bad it looks. I mean, look at my stories. They're not amazing. I'm just trying to have fun. That's all.
That's all.
Thanks for listening.
Bye!
Bye.